Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. How are you doing? Are you feeling anxious? Well, it's not an easy time to be alive right now. There's so much going on in this world, and I totally understand if you're getting stressed and overwhelmed. But I want to talk to you about anxiety and about 3 ways that I think you can address it. Now, one of our bloggers, Jane Kennard, actually wrote this article that inspired me because I I tend to have an anxious personality. I know it doesn't come across sometimes, but I'm always like double thinking things and overthinking, being worried about outcomes. That's just my personality. And maybe it's part of the desire I have to sort of take care of everybody. And that's my maternal side. And maybe some of you can relate to that. But, some of those things can be very anxiety producing. And so one of our bloggers, Jane, wrote this article, and just if you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're not thinking well, and if you're obsessed with negative thoughts or difficult decisions, are you always the kind of person that's always thinking the worst that can happen is, and then you can come up with some pretty good things of the worst that can happen? Do you worry about, all kinds of things, people in your lives or your own situation? Anxiety can be very, very debilitating. And I'm being very honest with you. There are times when I feel very anxious about things because I think like most of the women in that's not most of, many of the women in our community, we are very empathic. I'm always amazed when we do our Patreon supporters group live shows, just how the women reach out to each other. And this is like a small kind of segment of our 60andMe community. It's I don't know, 800 people that have feel the possibility to help 60andMe financially. It's a supporters group. $1 a month if you just want to say yay 60andMe. $3 is if you're an angel level, and that's where you can join our Facebook groups, our Facebook lives. Facebook lives and YouTube lives, and then just whatever else you can afford. It really means the world because we don't do any advertising here, and we don't charge a membership fee or anything like that. So anyway, the point is that I really do understand how empathic people are in our community, and it seems a way of life. So if you're feeling an empathy for the world, start there. Let's narrow it down to our friends and our acquaintances. Let's narrow it down to our family, to the broader family that we've known throughout our lives, all the ex-husbands and ex-friends and everybody that we've had some relationship with that's helped us along the way, that's been part of our tapestry of our life. And then let's narrow it down to those few people that are our family, our very, very closest family. And if you're a grandparent, I think you will totally understand it when I say how anxious I can be about the world that those little grandkids are being born into, and about the realities that they have to face every single day. So here I am talking myself into anxiety. I'm actually feeling anxious, but this is what it is. This is what anxiety is. And if you have trouble calming your mind down, getting out of that repetitive pattern of fear, over dramatizing catastrophes, it's really easy to slip into that. And you keep asking yourself questions like, is it just me? Why can't I get over this? Why can't I overcome this? Yeah, it's hard, but there are some things you can do. And of course, the first thing I want to say to you is to calm down. How do you do that? How do you manage anxiety? Well, here's the 3 steps that Jane talks about, and I think that they're useful. So the first thing is to understand or identify the fears that are causing the anxiety. Once you know what's causing the anxiety, then you can start working on making changes to reduce your anxiety. Now, if you're fearful, for example, of just the world situation, I know we were talking a little bit recently about stoicism, where, you look at the world around you, it's scary, it's frightening, you can't control it, but all you can do is control your response to it. And sometimes that response does mean taking action. Sometimes it means doing something to deal with. I'm not saying you have to be passive in your reflection. It just means, or in your response. I'm just saying that you have to be dealing with things you can control, your actions, your thoughts, yourself. And if you can do that and kind of balance the fears that are pulling you into this depression, into this anxiety, you can start dealing with those fears. What are you fearful about? Once you know the cause, you can make changes. So, asking what is the worst case scenario can help. But then if you're a worrier, it can take you down a spiral. What is your inner critic telling you? What is your inner voice telling you that's making it worse? Is it something that's happened in your past, something that you haven't dealt with, haven't overcome, that you're now projecting out onto your friends and families and other people that you worry about? Is it I often think about this, and I think anyone who's lost a parent, I mean, of course, most of the women in our community now are dealing with elderly parents or have lost their parents. And, we keep thinking, if that happened to me, that's going to happen to, other people that I love. And then what happens to them when I die? These things can spin around in your head for so long, but once you know the cause of it, then you can do things to address it. So you can start looking at the positive things you can do, like the things you can do to engage and have a really wonderful time with them, and give them honest conversations about the reality of life. But you don't have to worry or be anxious about it. You need to just get it out in the open. And I think that's part of the secret. Anyway, I'm going down a path that's probably touching hearts, and I appreciate that, because there's no point in doing these videos if they don't touch anybody, right? They don't get anybody's emotions, including my own. So, step 2: change old thought patterns into new thought patterns. Now, there's a name for this. What is it called? I actually wrote it down because I didn't even know. I can't think what it's calling, but there actually is a technique, which is where you actually turn negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Now, Mel Robbins, who's a really cool life coach, she does this way, saying advising that we use the numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That whenever we're feeling panicked and overwhelmed, and a little bit scared or whatever, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then that resets your brain somehow. But there is a way that you can, with help from a psychiatrist or a therapist, you can actually do these practices where you can change negative thoughts into positive thoughts, overwhelming thoughts into more manageable thoughts. And I think there's some mind-body techniques that, like Tai Chi and yoga and meditation, that actually guide you through this as well. Like the body Shavasana, where you do the complete relaxation of your body. It just takes all the stress and removes it from your body. Encourages you to focus on the present, which is, I think, something that we tend not to do when we're anxious. We're always looking at the future, what's going to happen when this happens, or if this happens, or looking back on the things that have happened and how could I have dealt with them differently, or, just the things that trigger your anxiety. Share your feelings is what one of the pieces of advice that Jane gives. She's share your feelings with your friends, because if you think what I'm thinking is silly, that this is never going to happen, why am I worried about it? You can't talk yourself out of that sometimes, but talking to a friend, letting them talk you through with it is a different thing. And step 3, the third thing, is to plan some actions that are going to instill or going to create an anxiety-free lifestyle. And that does mean things like deep breathing exercises, 4, 4, 4, meditation, yoga, I mentioned, eating well, eating a balanced diet. I actually did some experiments. When I had my gallbladder out, and I had to go onto a diet because I was, eating. I needed to eat the right foods for my poor liver to cope. And I started eating really well, and I lost a lot of weight. And then, almost half a year passed, and I started nibbling cookies again and chocolate and doing things, and I gained some weight back, and my blood pressure went up. And I realized that just that one simple act of losing some weight really made a difference to my health. And blood pressure for me is my thing. You've got something else probably that helps, with yours. But the point is to find something that's going to help you get back down to earth. And whether it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or getting a practice where as soon as you start to think of one thing, you think of something else. I can give some examples of mine, but they're so weird you probably wouldn't think, why are you doing that? But schedule time to address your worries. Sometimes people do this. They say, okay, I'm not going to deal with this right now. This is ridiculous. It's not going to happen today. Tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, or tomorrow morning in my meditation, I'm going to take 10 minutes to think about it. Put it on the shelf, in the drawer. I'm not going to deal with it now. Not now, not today. I'll deal with it in 10 minutes. Give yourself something, schedule it that you're going to do this every day or in a mindful way on a regular basis. Positive affirmations, saying things that are positive about yourself. I am worthy of love. My family is safe. Just positive, my family is safe because they're taking care of themselves. Engaging in an activity like coloring for me is a really big one that I do to soothe myself. I find myself with coloring, I almost go into like a trance. It's really, really cool. And, sit down while you're doing that and acknowledge the good things you've done, acknowledge the accomplishments, and connect with people, connect with the people that support you and love you and that are going to give you some truth. They're not going to just say, yeah, they're going to actually challenge you, but they're going to give you a hug and some support. And we're here for you for that too. It's cognitive restructuring. That's what I made my notes here about that. So have a daily plan for dealing with stress and the fears that you've identified. If it's the fear of dying, let's deal with that. I would suggest you maybe go check out some of the books by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, or some of the things that other people have, hospice nurses now, that are talking about their experiences and soothing fears and concerns. Some of these things are pretty big, and I really appreciate you staying with me till the end of this video and going through it. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually always could cry at certain points in that video, and if you have, that's okay. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to share with each other the real stuff. We talk about fashion and beauty and this and that, but at the heart of it is really our anxiety with living, which is pretty difficult during these challenging times, but we can do it. You can do it. We can do it together, okay? Take good care. Have a fabulous day. Eat a good meal today. Go out for a walk. Do something positive. Take those fears and transform them into something more positive, and call a friend if you need help. Leave a comment if you need someone to talk back to you. I can do that. We can help each other. Have a really good day, everybody. Love you all. Bye-bye.